So let's just go back to Canada quickly. Maybe we can wrap up the first half if you want. But this is from this guy's garage, and it's just this guy, this expert, talking about is the budget 2024 an engineered collapse. So I thought you'd be interested in this if you haven't heard it already. And then, do you have other stuff for the first part, or do you want to move on?
I probably have at least one more thing we should do.
Okay. Let's see here.
You talked about productivity. We see in Canada here, GDP per person is declining for 6 straight quarters. GDP per capita is the lowest in growth in the entire OECD. The Bank of Canada's senior deputy governor, Carolyn Rogers, has said that this is a break glass emergency situation. Can you explain how did productivity get so bad in Canada, and why is it lower today than it was in 2018? And what the impact of some of the economic uncertainty and higher taxes have on that productivity?
Thank you again, Mr. Lawrence. I've been talking about this in my classes for literally 35 years. I've been studying and read, I think, every major document in our country on this topic, going all the way back to the 70s and the 80s. I've come to the conclusion, I agree with the Deputy Governor of the Bank of Canada. I think that the lack of reduced competition, because we have so many protected industries, is a major contributor. I'm not suggesting it's the only contributor, but this is straight out of Schumpeter again. If you're not forced to compete, then you're not going to compete. You're not going to innovate. Why would you innovate if you don't have to innovate? And so we have created protection, a lot of protection in multiple industries, which is allowing these industries not to innovate. And to your second question, again, the research on this is very, very clear. Displacing and crowding out the private markets with government spending that's classified as investment is not going to, at least in any of the evidence I have seen, is not going to increase productivity. We have a crisis in this country, and it's not just the Deputy Governor of the Bank. David Dodge has talked about this. John Manley, the former Liberal, has talked about this. Bill Morneau has talked about it. So this is not a quote, conservative view. It's the numbers are shouting at us that we have a profound problem that's going to hurt our young people.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. I have, I think, enough time for one more question. I wanted to talk about something that you brought up in another BNN Bloomberg interview when you said during the pandemic how untargeted universal government programs are squandering Canada's resources. We know Canadians are in a cost of living crisis right now. This government is constantly creating big government programs. A lot of the government's existing and announced programs don't increase productivity or make Canada more expensive or create jobs. What effect do you think these large programs have on affordability and productivity in Canada?
Can I keep going for that answer?
Yes.
Thank you again. I have been very critical of them, and not because I was opposed to helping people that need help. Of course we do. That is the Canadian way. We've been doing this my entire life. As my late mother, who grew up in the Depression in Saskatchewan, reminded me, there was no public health care. There was no old age pension in the 30s. There was none of the programs we have now. This is not about dismantling the social programs for our people that need help, but universality, which is giving money to high-income people and upper-middle-class people like professors, is just simply wrong. It is just wrong to say I should be getting free medicine from the taxpayer when I have a private insurance plan. We should be targeting it to people who need help at the bottom, not privileged people like members of parliament and professors and public servants. That's squandering scarce, desperately scarce public funds when we should be targeting it just on there, and then focusing on growth to create the economy and the growth of the future that's going to generate, by the way, tax revenues to the governments to then redistribute on various consumption programs.
Yeah. Did you know that household credit card debt is included in the GDP? Apparently. I looked into it a bit. It seems to be that there's 160 billion of Canadian credit card debt that would be in that GDP number as well. So measuring stuff that really I don't think should be measured in there. It's not like people are using credit cards to pay their bills now, and that's included in the GDP. So imagine how low it would be without that. I don't know, take 160 billion off that.
Isn't that double dipping?
You'd think, right?